Hi, everyone. All right, we're getting started. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. This is Michelle Wedderburn. I am here representing San Miguel de Allende. This is my channel, also representing Casa Elm, which is my boutique hotel space in central Mexico. I've lived here for over 6 years. And I absolutely love living in Mexico. If you're new to my channel, welcome. And if you have been here before, please be sure to hit the like button. And if you're new and you like what you're watching, please be sure to subscribe and hit the like button. It helps to support the efforts that are being put in and all the beautiful people that come on to talk to me about their experiences in Mexico. That is my focus. Our guest house space provides so much information and just like opportunity for you to explore living in Mexico or just visiting central Mexico. If you are interested in learning more, go to casaelm.com, click on events, and you can see there all the cool things that we offer. We do consider ourselves the soft landing space in central Mexico. So I'm excited to have Ann and Aaron on. I know you pronounce it a little different, Aaron, but I'm going to say Aaron, Aaron. You feel free to correct me. I'm so super excited to have them on. I know them in different circles over the past few years from living here, just the things that you do that I've been to, and also the place that you work where Micah has gone to school. He is a music teacher there, so we'll get a little bit more into that. But before we do, I wanted to just kind of talk really briefly about our upcoming Move to Mexico conference. And this is really in alignment with that. We want to continue showcasing people who live in Mexico, are from Mexico, have moved here, and what their life is like, just so it adds more value and insight to maybe some of the propaganda that we've seen and we've grown up with in other parts of the world. So that's the point, and that's why they're here. So before we do that, I wanted to talk briefly about the Move to Mexico conference, which is going to be November 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, and it's virtual, and it's going to have all the information that you need in regard to moving to Mexico. We're going to have an amazing panel of speakers that are from immigration, real estate, shipping companies, just a lot of details. We have a historian who will talk to you, someone that's going to talk to you about insurance, all the things. So if that's of interest to you, please be sure to join us on that weekend. I'm going to drop the link in the chat in a moment, and it's also down in the description box. And in addition to that, I am hosting via Casa Elm a meetup weekend. We are sold out for our VIP tickets, but we still have our general admission tickets, and I'll also drop the link as well to that. We had our last webinar last night, and yes, I think we're gonna fill up in the next couple of weeks. So if that's also of interest to you, please go to these links and get some more info there, okay? So I'm gonna just put those in really quick, and I will welcome our guest. Let's see. We're getting a little bit of feedback. Can you hear that? No? Okay. All right, hold on, Move to Mexico. And San Miguel meetup. Okay. All right. So without too much more talking, I want to say welcome to Michelle. Hi, how are you? Good evening. She is Miss Ingenuity. She's actually my official tea sponsor for Casa Elm. She has her own brand. They only ship in the United States. However, I get very lucky when she has someone come into Mexico. She sends a big box of her amazing teas. So if you are in the United States, please do check her out. It's ingenuityandspicecompany.com. And there you can see all the amazing flavors. They're very good. She's been here twice, has done tutorials here at Casa Elm. So I really appreciate you, and I can't wait for you also to get on over here, sister. All right, so I'm gonna let you all introduce yourself. Welcome. Ladies first, you can tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're from, maybe originally, and how long you've been in SMA.
Sure. Well, hi, everybody. Let me just say, my name is Anne, and I come from Minnesota. So I'm a Minnesotan in Mexico, but how I wish I would have had Michelle Wedderburn on my radar when I moved here 16 years ago.
Wow.
Because I did not plan very much. I love Minnesota. I grew up there. I had my own business there. But when I became an empty nester, that was in 2004 that my son went to college, and I tried to sell the house and it didn't sell. So I just rented it out, and I decided to move somewhere warm. I just wanted to be warm. And I'm a single mom, so with one child. So when he grew up and left, that was my chance to kind of try something new. And I've traveled the world anyway in my life. And I thought, where can I go? I was going to move to Australia. My family said, nope, we'll never visit you. It's too far. And so the neighbor to the south was the next natural place to look. And so I moved here I guess it was October 1st, 2008. So I'm about to celebrate my 60th anniversary.
Wow. Okay. So why San Miguel?
Why San Miguel? Well, because I was actually sitting in Cabo San Lucas in a fabulous condo. I was being a tourist, vacationing on my own. I used to do that all the time, to come down in the winter from Minnesota to Mexico. And so I'm sitting there in this beautiful condo, looking out over the Sea of Cortez, and there were whales jumping, and it was amazing. And I thought, I can't go back. I mean, it was December of 2007, December, and I had to go back because it was the holidays and my son's birthday and everything else. So, I had to cut. I had been down there for a month, and I thought maybe, I wish I could stay. And then I just, I had my laptop. It was morning, and I had my laptop out on the balcony, and I was just having like a handful of almonds and a mango, the typical breakfast. It was wonderful. And all of a sudden, and I'm looking down at my computer, and I hear this buzz by my head. And I thought, oh no, it's one of those gigantic beetles flying, and it's going to get caught in my hair. And I was kind of freaking out. And then I look up, and it is not a beetle, it's a hummingbird.
Oh.
And the hummingbird came this close to me, just like looking at me, looking in my face, kind of, flying, right? And I swear it communicated to me, because that's when my brain became flooded with this idea that there are people who work their whole life. They work all year long, for 2 weeks off, and they come to Mexico. And then there are people who work really hard to get 2 weeks back in their native Minnesota, and they live in Mexico. And I could be one of these people.
Right.
And so, so I just, right then and there, the hummingbird said his piece and flew away, or her. And I just decided to move. And so before I could leave in that December 2007, I thought, I need to know, when is my next trip to Mexico? And when can I explore, the idea of moving here? So I type into my laptop, Writers Conference, Mexico, because I'm a writer. I've had a public relations consultancy for 30 years. I thought, if I find a writers conference somewhere in Mexico, I can write that off on my taxes, right? As business development and professional development. So I find this writers conference in February of 2008 in San Miguel de Allende, which is a town I'd never heard of. I had been to all the Isla Mujeres, Ixtapas y Guatanejo, Cabo San Lucas, all the places, tourist places. And I skydive, and I was doing all that kind of stuff. Wonderful time. But this San Miguel de Allende was in the middle of the country. And I thought, okay, I can go there for a writer's conference. So I book it. Right then and there, I booked that, the flight, everything. And I was happy. I could go home knowing that I'd be warm again in a couple of months. And I came down and I spent 10 days over the writers conference, loved it. Then I came for the month of May because supposedly that's the hottest. And I thought maybe I can't stand it. I better check it out. Came for the whole month of May. So by then I had been here 40 days and 40 nights, and that seemed kind of pathetic. Came back in August because being from Minnesota, the seasons matter. And I thought, can I handle it in, all the seasons? So I come in August and I loved it then too. And I just decided to move and rented a place. And October 1st, I drove down by myself.
Wow.
It took 4 days. And I packed my little dog and a shrink wrapped, you use one of those vacuum things with all the bags to shrink wrap clothing and sheets and everything. Had a
You were
box
like
of kitchen stuff,
ready.
and I moved down. I just drove down. I mean, my friends were mad. I had to go back. I didn't tell a lot of people I'm leaving, like just leaving, and I'm moving there. And I had to come back and do a party, and where I let people go shopping in my house and just gave all the stuff away.
Wow.
Because I couldn't fit it. So I just gave it all away. My son has my refrigerator and brand new dishwasher and stove and all that stuff because couldn't take it. So that happened, and I rented my house out from afar. Once I got down here, it occurred to me, I should get a manager and rent my house out. Did all that online. Never came back to. Yeah, so that was what happened 16 years ago. And
here you are.
amen. I just stayed here, and now I have my green card, my permanent residency, and yeah.
And your hubby.
And this is my husband. I should have put Ann and on the little thing. All it says is Ann, but anyway.
Yeah, no, it's okay. We're gonna get to
I didn't
that.
know I was gonna run into Ann. We met the month after I moved here. But anyway, first you introduce yourself and then I can tell that story.
Yeah. Well, before you do that, I wanted to say that's extremely brave of you, and I think that a lot of people, will admire that story. And I think it also kind of continues to point out the fact that, Mexico isn't this big bad wolf to the south. You know what I'm saying? And, again, I'm not saying it in a frivolous way. What I'm saying is that there's just this underlying fear rather, that just continues to kind of always come up. Right? And the fact that you did this so long ago, before we had YouTube and all these people kind of saying, oh, I've done this and I've done that. And, I had never met anyone outside of some close friends of mine who were like, oh, I drove all the way from Florida to Mexico. And I was like, oh, really? So it's nice to hear that you did this a very long time ago on your own, and that you listened to the hummingbird. So yes. I love it. Yeah. Go ahead, introduce yourself, Aaron.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Aaron Romo, Aaron, and I'm from Mexico City, and I've been in San Miguel almost 27 years.
Wow.
And the main thing that brought me here is music, because I'm a professional musician. I play the bass, both upright and electric bass. And that's my background in music. I'm also a graphic designer. And currently I'm a teacher. So I teach in this little school in one of the neighborhoods here in San Miguel, Atabal, Colegio Atabal. And I give lessons to 3rd and 4th grade in an immersive system that includes English and Spanish. And I also teach music to the whole school, and I coordinate all the artistic events for the whole school year at the same college. Not college, school. And the story that brought me to San Miguel, when I was in Mexico City back in '97, me and one of my friends, very good friend Gonzalo Contreras, is a guitar player. We were doing nothing. We were taking a sabbatical from previous projects and kind of being exhausted of knocking on doors and always turn back and turn around. And so we said, why don't we compose some music? So I said, yes, this is a good idea. So we started writing and stuff, and long story short, we met this guy that had another project to come to San Miguel, and I'd never heard about the town of San Miguel de Allende in Guanajuato. And since we were doing nothing at the time, we said, okay, we can come. And we were supposed to play in a bar here. And for, fortune or destiny, that didn't work out, but it worked out in a different way. It was actually better for us. And we started playing in another nightclub, more nights a week that we were starting playing in this other club. So it was a win-win for everybody. But the first night was a struggle for me and my friends because we came here knowing that we had no certain job, and we're in the middle of the street with all the equipment, all the luggage, everything, and one-way ticket. So no money either. But we kind of scored that gig the very same day we landed in San Miguel, and I've been here since then. So yeah,
I love it. Well, I know you also from school because Micah was there over 3 years ago, and the shows I think that they had for Christmas were really amazing actually, and a lot of fun. And I've seen you play all around town, and most recently right here at Casa Elm on Saturday night, which was amazing. Thank you so much for that. Our guests really enjoyed themselves. I haven't shared it on YouTube, but I did share it on my Facebook page. We had a 16-person event here on Saturday evening, and they specifically requested more like Cuban style, Buena Vista Social Club type music, and Aron and is it Mario performed?
that's correct.
Yeah, and it was just beautiful. It was absolutely lovely. Yeah, so thank you for that. Yeah, and also tell us a little bit about your karaoke and then just maybe your story together. And how did
Well,
you
I brought kind of a toy karaoke machine with me. When I moved here, it was just one of the things that I packed up in my SUV that I drove down. And I somehow I started getting attention for that. Like my friends that I made when I got here, I didn't know anybody. So I made new friends and they'd say, oh, you have a karaoke machine, let's have a party. And eventually that led to, hey, why don't you start playing in this bar? And then eventually that led to now I do karaoke 3 nights a week. And I didn't also know a word of Spanish when I moved here at all.
Now you
Never
do.
had it in high school. Never. I didn't know how to say donde está el baño. Where's the bathroom? Didn't know anything. But San Miguel is so welcoming, and the people, the locals, a lot of them do speak English because there are quite a few expats in town. So anyway, I was able to learn Spanish literally through karaoke.
Oh, I love
That's
it.
how I learned. I did not sit in classrooms because who wants to do that when you've got year-round summer, basically?
That's
so,
true.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for learning language however you learn best. And for me, it is by doing. So I would take karaoke music off YouTube, or at the time we had CDs. Now we're not using those anymore. It's all on my laptop. But I would take CDs and I would play the songs that I liked over and over and over. And I would look up the lyrics online and get them translated through Google Translate, and then have Mexican friends tell me what was wrong with that and fix it so that I knew what I was singing.
Oh, nice.
And I knew what I was singing about. And I learned verb tenses, all kinds of things through these songs. So I joke that I don't really speak Spanish. I speak Shakira.
I love
I
it.
learned through. So anyway, but when I first came here, so it was October of 2008, and a good friend of mine in the States has a birthday around Thanksgiving. So she flew down in November, rented a house in Central, and we had a big blowout party for Thanksgiving. With some people that we just met here and kind of picked up at bars. We were a little wild. That was so long ago. Now I'm mature. But anyway, before my maturity set in. So here we are, 1 month after I moved here. And I'm already kind of dating someone, so I'm with him at this karaoke bar. And my friend convinces me to get up and sing Billie Jean by Michael Jackson. I don't have the kind of voice that can sing Michael Jackson. You know, I sing mostly like a lot of male songs and stuff. So as it's low. So I get up there and she tricked me. She was supposed to sing, but then she's like, no, you're going to sing. I'm going to play this tambourine. She whips out a tambourine. So we're up there making complete fools of ourselves. I can't sing. She thinks she can play this tambourine. Anyway, we're up there and we were out of tune and off the beat. And, you know, I've heard that song a million times, but couldn't sing it for the life of me. And all of a sudden, this guy jumps up onto the stage and in a professional singer's voice gets us back, and he's doing falsetto and whatever. He gets us back to the song, and then he jumps down and disappears into the crowd. Well, later that night, we found him and went over to his house for like an after party. I mean, this was like at 4 a.m.
Wow.
And, you know, I had driven down, I had a car. So we all gather at his house, and I'm trying to get him together with my friend, thinking they could have a fling. I mean, the whole thing was just crazy ironic that a year and a half later we start dating, but we were friends. We were just friends. And it started out because he dared to get up there and jump up on stage.
And
he was
help
married
you
at the time.
out.
Getting out of that, I didn't know that. So he got out of his marriage, I got out of my relationship, kind of totally separate things. And then because we were friends, we were kind of helping each other through these traumatic breakups. And then in February of 2010 is when we first got together. He like asked me out on a date, and it was for Valentine's Day. And I said no, because when we broke up, I did not want to always be heartbroken on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
So a little after that, we don't know the date. Neither one of us can remember. It's okay. February 2010 is our general anniversary. And then 2 years ago in August, so we're celebrating our second anniversary, we got married.
Okay.
So
So
every
you
year
had
we get to anniversaries about 6 months apart.
okay. I love it. I love it. I love the whole jumping on stage to save you from your Michael Jackson song.
Yeah, well, so I hear Billie Jean, I just kind of go, oh. I just
Like,
smile.
oh.
But
I think
hey,
that's
you know,
awesome. I think it's
no,
awesome.
better than I could have been. And I did
Yeah.
not come here thinking I'm going to meet a man. That was not it. I was just off on a new adventure for me, you know, as a
Right.
single who's a little bit, you know, liberated and also needed something to do without my son around.
Yeah.
You know, that was a hard time for me. I just came down here and just naturally fell into the relationship of doing what I'm interested in doing, which was karaoke. And he was too, I guess, because there he was. So
I love it. I think that's special. You know, because people do ask me those questions on a regular basis. And, you know, I think that, in my opinion, no matter where you are in the world, if you're open to dating outside of what you might be used to or what you may have had access to in the past, that there, you know, potentially is someone that's there for you or could be there for you. You know, it may take a little time and effort, but I get that question regularly. What's the dating scene, especially in San Miguel? We all know someone is booed up, as I say, someone else already. And also, there are a lot of single people here that have moved here from other places. And, you know, but in general, I do feel that even if you are not in a relationship, that San Miguel still offers a lot and still enhances your life. Yeah, you know, quite a bit. There's a lot to do. There are a lot of things to be a part of socially, without anyone, if you just want to be by yourself, whatever it is. I do think that San Miguel's special in this way. You know, if you come here and you feel alone, it's probably just the way you are. You know, it's something that you're not comfortable to get out. Yeah, you're not, don't say trying. It's just, you know, if this is what you do, you stay home and you just feel like excluded or whatever, it's probably just the way you prefer to be and live, you know, because I do think it's one of the easiest places to meet people and be a part of a community anywhere than any place I've lived before and or traveled to. So yeah, I love it. I love
Oh,
it.
yeah, and can I say something about language too?
Sure.
Because so Aaron is fluent in English because his parents sent him to an English tutor when he was a little kid. And he's got the kind of brain that not only retains thousands of song lyrics and notes, right? But can also retain language. So for him, speaks English so fluently that opened up the opportunity to get to know not just, a girlfriend or a wife, but friends and clients
Right.
and students, and he can get jobs anywhere because he's fluent. And then for me, it was really important to me to learn Spanish, and yet it's hard. I know I'm not that great at it. I'm not fluent. I will consider myself fluent when I can go to a comedy show and get all the references in Spanish,
Yeah.
right? That feels like cultural fluency and language fluency to me. But I learned enough, and people all really respect the fact that I was trying, and I would ask them to correct me, and I would not be shy about speaking, even though I'd torture a sentence. At least I was trying to communicate, and that is so welcome, and it just opens up so many doors.
It really does. I mean, I say
And it's
that
such a
often.
privilege.
Just
Yeah.
learn if you can, and you intend to live in Mexico, definitely try. You don't necessarily have to be perfect, but I think it definitely helps to learn the language, as much as you can. And of course, if you're in a relationship with someone, I think that that's a plus because typically you get the opportunity to practice a lot more because it's essential to communicate, right? So I wanted to welcome a few people I didn't acknowledge yet. Hi, Alex, welcome. Alex said the hummingbird was a sign. I agree. Michelle as well, she said hummingbirds are a sign of good luck. And they're glad you followed your spirit animal. I do believe in spirit animals. And Dahlia, hi, from Miami. She's one of my clients, and Jetta as well. Hola, Francis also. Welcome, everyone. And then anyone lurking in the background, feel free to type a comment or ask questions in the chat. So tell me a little bit about the Writers' Conference, because I know I don't know, do they still do that every February? I know that they did pre-COVID. Do they still do that?
I have wine because you said it was Wine Down Wednesday. So
Wine down with, well, I have Blue Martini. This is
okay, all right.
from
Salud.
the party. Salud.
Oh, nice. So the Writers' Conference is always around Valentine's Day. It's February. In San Miguel, and it's not when I first came here, it was great because it got me introduced to some writers here, local writers, and the writing community is very strong writing community, whether you're into fiction or nonfiction or poetry or historical fiction and research, and people do genealogy and they write books. And so the writers community is large and very strong and connected here. But the Writers' Conference itself, like I had been to several Writers' Conferences in my career or over my life, and because I also write for pleasure, and someday maybe I'll come out with a book. We'll see. I got about 8 of them started, but it was a networking opportunity. You can meet with agents. You can go to different, it's like any conference where there are all these breakout sessions, and you pick the ones that you're interested in. And then they have keynote speakers that are always top celebrities in the literary world. And they get that because the people who run the Writers' Conference are really connected in those circles. There's one woman who comes from Berkeley, California, and she's the leader in the community there. And there are professors from New York, and, all kinds of folks that cooperate to make this Writers' Conference happen. And so the keynote speakers are always pretty amazing, and you can buy tickets to those separately. And I don't really know much beyond that because I'm not part of the organizing
Right.
committee for this. But I think you just can go to Writers Conference sanmiguel.com or something like that. I mean, I'm sure if you Google Writers Conference San Miguel, you'll find it, but it's like a week, and I just, when I first came here to the conference, I came a few days early and then stayed right in the conference hotel, which is always at the Real de Minas Hotel in Colonia, San Antonio, which is very central, and you can walk anywhere. That's the thing, you can walk here safely. You can walk, and you know, you don't need a car. And there's enough English spoken, so talk about a soft landing, like Casa
Yes.
Elm. It's the city's a soft landing if you're moving to Mexico.
Right.
So, and the Writers' Conference was just my portal into really, you know, the English speaking community here. You don't meet Mexicans, or actually now I think there is kind of a bilingual track.
Okay.
So I think there are sessions in Spanish now, and there are scholarships that the literary community gives to Mexican students
Okay.
so that they can pursue their literary craft, and so there's a lot going on there.
Okay.
that
Yeah, I think I went to, I'm pretty sure it was the Writers' Conference also quite a few years ago in February, and they had like some readings for Black poetry, Black writers, and things like that because the History Month. And it was beautiful. It was packed. Like I think every seat was taken. People were standing on the walls. And it was actually really nice to see that and to be a part of that experience. So yeah, I think that if you are a writer, I think that that's another opportunity for you to explore, or being a part of that week in general. You can find that on Google, just like you said, type in Writers Conference San Miguel. I'm sure it will come up. Dahlia, thank you. Yes, she said her son is a writer, and she also and she dabbles in poetry. So
well, I met, you know, Rebecca Walker, who's famous, and Alice Walker is her mother. Okay, so famous writers. And I met Rebecca, and we're Facebook friends now.
yeah.
The Writers' Conference. So
Yeah.
it really is very, very intimate, even though, yeah, there are probably 1,000 people, but you can go to the sessions and get to know these people, and they're just incredible.
Right, in person. I find that with SMA, it's interesting because there are a lot of people here that are well known somewhere in the world for something, and it's like so low key, like you would never know if you didn't know them. You know, you're like rubbing elbows with someone who is probably pretty well known elsewhere. So that's really interesting about this town, and because it's a small town, it's not that hard to kind of, you know, mingle in the same circles versus maybe, you know, back in New York or Connecticut or Florida or something like that. So Aaron, tell me a little bit more about just your experiences as a Mexican. You know, I'm, as I said before we got on, is I want to normalize for people who think Mexico is just all unsafe and don't go here and don't do this, and you know, everyone's trying to get over the border to go, you know, climb over the wall to get to the United States, and
Everyone.
it's so arrogant, right? And so, you know, I love that you're a musician, you know, you're from Mexico City, and that you had the same kind of normal everyday challenges that we all do, right? It's like, where am I starting? What am I doing? I'm an artist, and you know, I landed in this place as well, just like a lot of us, and I made it. I'm doing this now, and these are the things that I'm involved in. So just like your perspective, you know, living in Mexico, and maybe some of the myths that people have as foreigners coming to your beautiful country.
Sure. Being from Mexico City is kind of an advantage because it's the same for, I guess, every people that are from big cities, that you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. So in my case, I studied and lived and worked for almost 22 years in Mexico City. And my drive to get out of the city was the traffic and the stress, and how people don't care about, I mean, helping each other. I think that's changing with new generations, because the younger generations are focused on taking care of each other more than we were. And I see that in the students, they get really concerned about environmental stuff, and kids are learning through all these resources they have, the video games and stuff, how the world is working now and how can they kind of thrive and fix whatever they can. But anyway, talking about life here and life in the city, again, I choose to live here always. And I've chosen, I don't say I've chosen San Miguel. San Miguel chose me because I didn't know anything about the place. And when I came here, all people that I met were, first of all, they were kind of all bohemian artists and were kind of immersed in that world of discovering what are we gonna do next, how are we gonna eat next day and stuff like that. We had it easy because we landed a contract, and back then it was kind of hard to be at a place for 5 nights a week, working in what you love to do, which is music, and the pay was well. We got free accommodations, and we just have to care about our foods, and that was kind of a plus, and it gave me the opportunity to explore more of the town, and here people are, as my wife said, is very welcoming and very helpful. They want to help, and in my experience, I encountered through the several relationships I've had, and I would say always positive vibes. You know, there's a lot of everything, and of course you meet people of any other backgrounds and any other ways of thinking, and I respect every way of thinking, even if I don't agree. I respect that, and but in my perspective, people model the place you're in, and of course, it's in any place in the world. There's places you absolutely don't go, right? It doesn't happen just in Mexico. It happens everywhere. And the other day, I was chatting with Mario, my fellow musician, and he lived in Europe for almost 12 years. And he was sharing some of his experience in Europe that were kind of similar to here in San Miguel, where, yeah, this is very European-like little town in the middle of Mexico. And also there's places you don't dare to go, don't even police go, you know, but it's not right here. He told me about stuff in Greece and in Germany, and that you don't dare to go because obvious reasons. But I don't think Mexico is unsafe for tourists or even people. And in my case, it's 27 years living in Mexico, 22 in Mexico City, 27 years here. Nothing has ever happened to me or my close ones that I know. There's kind of severe or crime related or cartel related. That's the news are painting us.
I still have my head, you notice,
So
chopped off. Not ever chopped off, not once.
yeah, all the
You haven't been
fingers,
kidnapped.
Oh, still got them all.
yeah, but talking about if I may talk about safety, me being Mexican, hearing what is going on in the States with all the mass shootings and stuff that is happening as a teacher,
Racism.
it's kind of
Also.
where you balance the facts, right? And again, I can only speak for ourselves now that we've lived together several years, and our own experiences. We have traveled to the US both by plane and driving. Nothing has ever happened to us that you can say, "Oh, I won't do this again." And to drive through Mexico is it's an extraordinary experience, at least for me and for
It's
my wife,
beautiful.
because
Yeah.
we like to drive and we like to
Yeah.
get lost.
Same. I love driving. It's so beautiful and interesting how the landscape changes. Like every few hours, it's completely different on the same highway. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that change of scenery from where the place you call a home and see other places gradually while you're driving anywhere feeds your soul and opens up an other perspective that you can appreciate more the land you live and also home, whatever that might be, you know? In this case, our home is here in San Miguel. And being a bicultural couple, I also call home where she lived up in the States,
Right.
because you have to embrace all colors of of life. And being an artist, I kind of have a different mind. Not saying I'm smarter, or I'm not saying that. I'm just see life from another perspective. And for me, it's a waste not to enjoy the moments you're living every day and worrying about, is it safe? Well, it might not be, or it might be. That's something out of your control. And the only things you have on your control is the ones you have a certainty. And that gave me the courage in the first place to say to my pal back in Mexico City, let's do this. Let's move to San Miguel. I don't know anything about it, but let's do it.
True.
And again, as I said, 27 years, almost 2 days. September 13th is my anniversary here. Move anniversary here.
Nice.
And
Okay.
and it was a ride, and I've seen changes all these years that it's been different, you know.
It was a different town when you came here.
It was
Smaller.
totally different town when I
I
came here.
know. I'm sure it had
Came
dirt
in.
roads when you came, because I remember it wasn't that developed. I came for the first time in 2005. And, I remember in Central, and then like some of the streets that are now full-blown neighborhoods, one probably didn't exist. And, not to exaggerate, but there were like cobblestones, but then dirt roads. Because I
No,
remember
that's
we drove on
There
them.
still are where we live.
There still are.
Yeah.
And back then, another little curious fact about that, when I moved here, we had just 2 movie theater kind of room
A two-room theater.
for the whole town. And where it is where right now is Plaza Real del Conde. If you come down, you'll see it. Or if you visit, you can see that Plaza Real del Conde. It was really famous back in the 90s.
Okay.
And that was it.
Interesting.
If you see all the landscape, all the buildings and all the developments, it was nothing. It's just that little plaza in the middle of nothing. And it was just one bus in the morning and one bus at night to take you both ways. But you could walk from that place to Central, so it's, it kind of logical not to add more, how can I say, pollution or whatever with more buses.
Yeah,
So
that too. Yeah, that's so interesting. I see pictures from way back, and it's like sometimes it's hard to tell where is that unless it has a church in it somehow, and it's sort of just, it feels ancient almost compared to what we're seeing now. San Miguel is growing quite a bit. There's constant development. I can't say that's a positive thing all the time, but it certainly has changed over these decades. So yeah, anything else you want to add to that?
Just, if you want to travel anywhere, not just San Miguel or Mexico, is anywhere, just be open-minded
Yeah.
about the place you're gonna visit. And as my wife said, it's always a positive thing to go in tower someplace, towards someplace, than running away from, because it's a whole different experience.
Although this is San Miguel, I know a lot of people who have come here to reinvent their life or to escape an abusive relationship or to start over in some way. And so it may have been a different motivation from why I came here, but their stories are always interesting. And I think it's, boy, it's a really safe place. I know many expat Americans who say they feel safer here. You still take precautions, you still lock your door, you still, you don't leave your laptop in the car, you don't let your kid go out at night with people you don't know. I mean, it's universal.
Right.
But I think that, I give a talk every couple of weeks on a Saturday morning to a Rhodes Scholar group. They come here through Geronimo Tours, which is a local tour company. And so the Rhodes Scholar is affiliated with them, and they come in and I have a group of anywhere from like 20 to 40 people, mostly in their 60s and 70s and from all across the US. And they're coming, Rhodes Scholar is more of an educational tour than just I want to go shopping or I want to go to the beach. It's you learn the history of the place, etc. So I'm their last stop before they go to Guanajuato, and then they go home. And so I do a talk on San Miguel lifestyle. And I've told several of these groups, if I had to write a slogan for expats coming to the States, it would be "You belong here." And by you, I'm talking to you if you're an older Jewish couple who wants to practice their faith and wants to know if there's a synagogue. Yes. I'm talking about the young Black family who, they've got kids. They wonder if their kids will find a place in school and find friends. And, should they go somewhere where they can become bilingual? Is that a necessity, etc.? The single woman who, there's always a bunch of single people, both men and women in these groups who are going on these tours to meet people. And I tell them, this is for you too. You belong here. And I know there are people who have come down here and said, no, I need my Trader Joe's. I'm sorry, got to go home, got to move back. Or, from Canada, there are people who, they can spend less than 6 months here because they have to spend more than 6 months in Canada to get their health care, that kind of thing. To each their own. There are part-time people who live here and they're just as invested in the community, and they, they might own a home and they might rent it out or whatever. But I think there's really a place, right, for people. And I think to have you, Michelle, that's the thing. I got along fine because I'm a super adventurous person, and like our own, we're alike that way. We don't, we just look at a place on the map and go, that sounds cool.
Okay.
Let's go. I mean, that's just not, that's how we are. And most people, I get it, they're not like that. And so to have you shepherd that process for them, I think has got to be just worth a mint. And I'm really glad you're here doing that. And I'm glad that you wanted to talk to us.
Yeah, absolutely. I know you both. Yeah, I know both of you through different things. I think I didn't know you were married until recently, like maybe 6 months ago. And I've been to your karaoke. I know you from school, Micah School, and performing around town. And so I loved your story. I still love it. I love everything about how you met, how long you've been here. Now I know more because I learn a lot as well in these interviews. And it's just a testimony to, getting up and going for something and giving it a try. You don't always maybe have the solid plan, or you may just be following intuition. And, look where it has led you to. And just to kind of comment on what Aaron was saying, about the, safety thing and what people think versus the reality of maybe where they're coming from. For myself, moving from Florida with my child, and I say this probably every week on my channel, was to take him out of an environment that made me very uncomfortable, that was straight living anywhere in the United States. And, just the ease and comfort people have to own guns and to feel like they're like, Rambo, and, I got Arnold Schwarzenegger, I have to protect my family and all the things. It's like just that mentality of living in constant fear, so much so that it's like, I'm going to revert to every, means necessary to create this sense of protection. Again, it's scary because what is actually happening is we're not actually protected, right? Our children are not protected at schools and colleges, and people are not protected at churches and theaters and all the things. And right, so it's like all of that is just kind of blanketed over to, oh, I'm afraid to go to Mexico because I watched too many things about the cartels, which the reality is that I personally as well feel safer here. Things that make me feel vulnerable are simply the fact that I don't speak great, perfect Spanish. So if I go somewhere, not being able to really communicate clearly is probably one of the things that I personally feel if I'm traveling outside of my bubble, right? And when I say outside, I'm talking about hours outside. I'm not talking about like Querétaro. Yesterday I jumped in my car and I went to Querétaro because I had to get some things, and I went to Costco's, and I remember driving home thinking like, I don't even need the GPS anymore. I know exactly where to go, what to do. And I've learned a lot in terms of the language just to help me through these things. But I've traveled like, to Chihuahua, and I remember at times feeling like, I don't know where I am, right? I'm on a bus, but I really don't know where I am, right? The bus is just making a stop along the way, and having like the guys who come on and do the spot checks for the military, and I'm just like, okay, I hope they can understand me. Things like that, I feel that that's more of a real thing in terms of concern than not being able to explain myself.
Quick tips, okay,
Sure.
that I've learned and I practice here. One is have a WhatsApp account. Be on WhatsApp. You can share your location with someone for up
True.
to 8 hours at a time. And that's true on Facebook Messenger, I believe, too. But have a data plan on your phone. I mean, I've got a Mexican cell phone now, but with WhatsApp, it's free to call anywhere in the world, and I can share my location. I can share my location with anybody wherever they are, so that they can be watching me for 8 hours as I travel on the bus to Puerto Vallarta or wherever, right? And that's really great. And then also I keep on my phone, in my cell phone, the US Embassy in Mexico City, the consular agency here in San Miguel, the Green Angels, which is like a highway helper in some parts of Mexico. I keep all those numbers on my phone.
Okay.
And also now in Mexico, this was not the case when I moved here, but 911 is the emergency number in Mexico now too. So you can do that. There's other like 066 when you're on the highway. There are other sort of relics, but 911 now is recognized as an emergency number. So you have those resources. And also just if you don't have your phone and you know that there are things like, for example, you need to take medications at a certain time, or your child does, or something like that, write it down in Spanish before you leave, have that in your pocket, and be able to pull that out and show someone, so-and-so needs this.
Right.
And people want to help you. But I've never known, I mean, Mexican people, there's so many things about Mexicans that I love, one of them being ingenuity, just they can fix anything.
Okay.
They can literally fix anything. And we have many stories we could tell you about Mexican technology. Aaron and I have a joke, literally, he'll say, oh, Mexican technology. And I'll be like, how did you think of that? Well, this is what we do.
This is true.
But they want to help you. And nobody here wants an expat to be struggling. They'll, I told, a one woman who's a waitress in a restaurant here, a Mexican woman, was telling her about my Mexican husband and how we got married, and I have a Mexican made wedding dress and Mexican made leather cowboy boots that I wore with it. And and it was really important to me to have everything about Mexico on me at the time when I got married, and everything else. She started to cry, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, what? Did I trigger something? She said, no, you just love our country so much.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've gotten that too. People are always asking me, like, why? I think, again, for them, it's the image that, where you're coming from is so much better. But I'm like, it's not worse. It's just, I think what makes it a little bit different in terms of the perspective is you're looking at the currency and the value of it in general, and, maybe the ease of access to things, and also the abundance of opportunities that many people here may not get, right? For example, and I know you have to go soon, I have a lady who works with me, and when she started, she was super quiet, 1 day a week, and now she's like, 5-6 days a week. And, I just kind of look at her, and I talk to her a lot, and I say, you just, like, she has such an intelligent mind, and how she does things, just like you said, it's like, the ability to fix and solve problems around the house and find a solution, and just the tenacity that goes with that. And I admire that. And I think, if her opportunities were as equal as mine, she would definitely be farther along in life, right? And so I think that those are some of the bigger differences that we, have, and advantages that we have. But living in Mexico has really taught me to be way more humble and appreciative, and just, feeling very grateful to be in a culture where people actually acknowledge each other and see each other. And that's, I think, one of my favorite things for sure. Yeah. So I know you have to perform tonight, so I'm gonna let you go. Yes, so thank you both so much. If you all have any questions, you can drop them in the comments. I really appreciate you coming on to talk about your life and your story. Aaron has to perform, so he's going to get going. Thank you for both.
Also night.
Yes, and if you are in San Miguel, please tell us what your Facebook page is for karaoke as well.
Oh, well, there's a page or a group on Facebook that's SMA for San Miguel de Allende, SMA Karaoke Club.
Okay.
And that's the name of the group. But you can, Michelle, if anybody does want to know, just feel free to give the link to that or to our Facebook pages or whatever around tonight. If there's anybody on from San Miguel who's listening right now and you want to go salsa dancing, that's at Bardot Rooftop, and it's
I'm gonna put
right
that
on
here
San
too.
Miguel. I think it's 44, number 44.
I
Above
think so.
Sabroso Tacos.
We sometimes are located by what's it called,
Tupinamba?
reference points.
What is it?
So my preference is the Tupinamba bar because we're beside it, and everybody knows
Okay.
Tupinamba, La Cucaracha, which is another bar across the
Oh,
street.
so you're in that courtyard, kind of upstairs. What's
They're
the
up
name?
on the terrace, up on the roof.
Bardo, Bardo.
Okay, I've heard of that. Yeah, I mean,
So
this is
that's where
easy.
everybody goes. Wednesday nights in San Miguel, if you like to salsa dance or any
Okay.
related Latin dancing, Bardo Rooftop, that's
Okay.
where the whole crowd is. And it's really fun, even if you don't dance, just to go and watch and
And what
listen to the
time does
music.
that start?
We start at 8
until
to 10, 2
10.
hours.
Okay, all right.
And there's lessons, free lessons.
And free
or
lessons start at
before.
6.
Yeah.
With
Okay.
bachata, and then at 7 with salsa, and then we come in.
Okay, see, that's good to know, because people ask me those
I don't know if they're
questions.
free, but
Yeah, I
they're
don't
there.
remember. But nothing's a lot. I mean.
Yeah, no, they're
Yeah, well,
very.
I won't put free. I just put the info, so have fun.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're going, but have a great time.
Thank you.
And thank you both so much for being here, and thank you all for watching. Please make sure you hit the like button if you haven't done so already, and be sure to check out all the info in the description box. We are here to continue to promote our Move to Mexico conference, virtual conference, which is November 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, and that is the reason why we are having these amazing people come on to talk about their life in San Miguel and Mexico in general. Definitely don't sleep on Mexico. That's all I have to say. I love living in Mexico. And welcome to Pamela Jones. Yes, please do watch the replay. She said, Viva Mexico. Yes, yay. And it's Independence coming up this weekend, so it's going to be crazy. If you are first time here and you happen to be watching and you're actually physically in Mexico and you hear all the things going off, no, they are not bombs. They're just cannons and people are having a great time, okay? Don't get mad. Just enjoy yourself. Get out and party if you can't go to sleep. All right. Thank you, guys.
All right.
Hang on for 1
Bye.
second. All right, hold on. All right, I just had to end it on that